My name is Carolina Vasquez, and the ICE officer threatened to deport me while I was walking to my car on a Saturday morning in San Diego. I wasn't doing anything suspicious, just carrying grocery bags from the corner market, wearing jeans and a Padres t-shirt, my hair tied back in a simple ponytail. But to Agent Derek Foster, that didn't matter. What mattered was that I looked like his idea of illegal. Stop right there. He stepped in front of me, hand raised, blocking my path on the sidewalk. No badge visible, no identification offered, just authority assumed and enforced. I stopped, bag still in my hands, and waited for him to explain himself. Immigration and Customs Enforcement. He finally pulled out a badge, flashed it too quickly for me to read details. I need to see your identification. For what purpose? My voice was calm, professional, the same tone I used to address subordinates who'd overstepped. Routine immigration check. I'm a U.S. citizen walking to my car with groceries. What's your reasonable suspicion for this stop? His eyes narrowed. Reasonable suspicion is I'm a federal agent conducting enforcement operations in this area. Now show me ID, or you're being detained for failure to cooperate. Around us, the street had gone quiet. This was North Park, a mixed neighborhood where ICE operations had become common enough that people knew to keep their heads down, avoid attention, pretend not to see when federal agents decided someone didn't belong. A woman across the street pulled her child closer and hurried away. Two men sitting outside a coffee shop pointedly looked at their phones. I set my grocery bags down slowly, reached for my purse. I'm getting my wallet. Don't overreact. I'll tell you what's overreacting. He moved closer, invading my space. Hands where I can see them. Now, I pulled out my wallet, flipped it open to my driver's license. California issued, current address, my full name visible, Carolina Maria Vasquez. He took the wallet, studied the license with theatrical suspicion. Carolina Vasquez, where were you born? San Diego. Parents' names? That's not relevant to verifying my citizenship. I'll decide what's relevant. His voice rose, attracting more attention. Parents' names. I recited them. Both born in California, both U.S. citizens, both now deceased. He wrote nothing down, just stood there, asserting dominance through bureaucratic harassment. Where do you work? I'm not obligated to answer that without reasonable suspicion of a crime. You're obligated to answer what I ask during an immigration investigation. Investigation of what? I'm walking to my car with groceries. That's not illegal activity. He stepped closer still, close enough that I could smell coffee on his breath. You want to know what's suspicious? A Hispanic woman in an area known for illegal alien activity, getting defensive when questioned, refusing to cooperate with a federal officer. That's suspicious. I'm not being defensive. I'm asserting my constitutional rights. Constitutional rights are for citizens. Are you a citizen? Yes. Prove it. My driver's license proves residency and legal presence. Driver's licenses can be fraudulent. I need proof of citizenship. Birth certificate, passport, naturalization papers. I don't carry my birth certificate to buy groceries. Then you're coming to the field office until you can provide documentation. He grabbed my arm, his grip immediately bruising. I didn't pull away, didn't resist, just stood there and let him demonstrate exactly who he was in front of a growing audience. More phones appeared, mostly filming from a cautious distance. You're detaining me for being Hispanic while grocery shopping? I kept my voice level, audible. That's your probable cause? I'm detaining you for failure to prove legal status during a lawful immigration check. Walking on a public street doesn't trigger an obligation to prove citizenship without reasonable suspicion. I've got reasonable suspicion. He pulled out handcuffs. Turn around. That's when his radio crackled. Another agent's voice, urgent. Foster, we got a runner at the trolley station. Hispanic female, 35 to 40, carrying multiple bags. Foster hesitated, looking at me, then at his radio. The chance of an actual enforcement action, someone actually running, actually suspicious, versus standing here arguing constitutional law with a woman holding organic vegetables. He shoved my wallet back at me. You're lucky. Next time, carry proper documentation or you won't walk away. He pointed at my face. I see you again without papers, you're going to detention until we verify every detail of your made-up story. Then he ran toward his vehicle, leaving me standing on the sidewalk with my groceries and a street full of witnesses who'd watched a federal agent harass a citizen for the crime of existing while Latina. I picked up my bags, walked to my car 2 blocks away, loaded the groceries, and sat in the driver's seat for a long moment. My hands were shaking, not from fear, but from rage I'd kept perfectly controlled, while Foster demonstrated why people in this neighborhood were terrified of anyone wearing a badge. Then I pulled out my phone and made 3 calls. First, my aide-de-camp at Naval Base San Diego. Commander Harris, I need you to pull the morning patrol logs for ICE operations in North Park. Specifically, any operations supervised by or including Agent Derek Foster. Second, the base provost marshal. This is Admiral Vasquez. I need you to contact the Department of Homeland Security Inspector General. I have a civil rights complaint regarding an ICE agent, and I need it filed through proper military channels because the agent detained a flag officer. Third, my legal officer, Captain Morrison. I need you at my house in 20 minutes with documentation on military authority over federal agents who assault or illegally detain service members. And bring my dress whites. I drove home, unloaded groceries, and waited. 23 minutes later, Captain Morrison arrived with my uniform and a briefcase full of legal precedent. Commander Harris appeared 5 minutes after that with printouts of ICE patrol logs. And 10 minutes after that, the Provost Marshal arrived with 2 Naval Criminal Investigative Service agents and expressions that suggested someone was about to have a very bad day. Ma'am, the Provost Marshal said, I've contacted DHSIG. They're sending a supervisor to San Diego immediately. I've also contacted FBI Civil Rights Division. And ma'am, he paused, NCIS ran Agent Foster's background. And? He's not authorized for the operation he was conducting. The North Park sweep was supposed to be led by Supervisory Agent Carmen Rodriguez. Foster wasn't even on the duty roster. He was conducting unauthorized enforcement. I felt something cold settle in my chest. Looks like it. And ma'am, there's more. The NCIS agent pulled out a tablet. Foster has 12 excessive force complaints in 18 months. 3 civil rights violation investigations, all dropped due to insufficient evidence, and 2 complaints specifically about conducting unauthorized stops without supervisor approval. Pattern of behavior. Yes, ma'am. He's been written up internally, but never disciplined. This is the first time someone with resources and rank caught him. I looked at my uniform laid out on the bed. Dress whites, shoulder boards showing 2 stars, ribbons representing 31 years of service, 3 combat deployments, command of everything from a destroyer to a carrier strike group. Get me his supervisor's contact information, I said. Then call San Diego PD. Tell them I'm filing a formal assault complaint for his grab on my arm. Then call the media relations officer at base. Tell them we're holding a press conference in 2 hours. Captain Morrison raised an eyebrow. Ma'am, are you sure you want to escalate this publicly? Captain, Agent Foster threatened to deport a rear admiral in the United States Navy because my last name is Vasquez. Yes, I'm escalating. And I'm making damn sure every agent like him understands that badges don't override rank, authority doesn't excuse assault, and pretending constitutional rights don't exist has consequences. I put on my uniform. Every ribbon, every pin, every symbol of 3 decades of service. When I looked in the mirror, I didn't see the woman Foster had harassed on the street. I saw a flag officer who'd commanded thousands of sailors, who'd made strategic decisions in combat zones, who'd earned her place at the table through competence and refusal to quit. And I was about to use every bit of that authority to destroy the career of a bully who thought a badge made him untouchable. The press conference was held at Naval Base San Diego, in front of a wall of American flags, with my command staff flanking me. News outlets packed the room. Local affiliates, national networks, military press. Word had spread that something significant was happening. I stood at the podium in my dress whites and told the story, calmly, factually, with no embellishment needed. Walking to my car with groceries, being stopped without probable cause, being questioned about my parents, my birthplace, my citizenship, being grabbed and threatened with detention, being told I was lucky he didn't arrest me for being Hispanic without papers. Agent Foster didn't know he was harassing a rear admiral, I said. He saw a Latina woman and assumed illegal. My rank, my service, my 3 decades defending this country, none of that was visible to him because his prejudice was louder than his training. But here's what matters most. I shouldn't have needed to be an admiral to be treated with dignity. Agent Foster's behavior was wrong, not because he harassed a flag officer, but because he harassed a citizen. My rank is relevant only because it gives me the platform to demand accountability that too many people in my community lack. I gestured to my legal officer. Captain Morrison will provide full documentation of Agent Foster's pattern of unauthorized stops, excessive force complaints, and civil rights violations. NCIS has confirmed he was conducting enforcement operations without authorization, without supervision, and without legal basis. His actions this morning weren't an isolated incident. They were his standard operating procedure. The questions came fast. How did it feel? Was I surprised? What did I want to happen to Foster? I answered each one with the same measured calm I'd shown on that street corner. Professional, factual, devastating. Then came the question that changed everything. Admiral, what consequences is Agent Foster facing? I smiled, not warmly. Agent Foster is currently under arrest by NCIS for assault on a military officer and conducting unauthorized federal law enforcement operations. Additionally, he's being investigated by the DHS Inspector General and FBI Civil Rights Division. But there's one more detail the public should know. I nodded to the NCIS agent, who stepped forward with documents. Agent Derek Foster, I said, reading from the investigation report, was found to be in the United States on an expired work authorization. His parents brought him from Mexico when he was 6 years old. He naturalized at 22, but his citizenship application contained false statements about his father's immigration status. Specifically, he claimed his father was a legal permanent resident when he was actually undocumented. The room exploded with questions. Under federal law, citizenship obtained through fraud is voidable. Agent Foster spent 18 months harassing Hispanic immigrants, threatening deportation, conducting unauthorized enforcement, while his own citizenship was based on documentation he knew was fraudulent. The irony is not lost on anyone. Admiral, are you saying? I'm saying that Agent Foster's citizenship is under review by USCIS for fraud. His law enforcement credentials have been revoked. His arrest record will be considered during his citizenship review. And yes, I let the pause hang. If his citizenship is revoked, he'll face deportation to Mexico, the same Mexico he spent his career threatening to send other people to. The press conference ended with chaos, reporters shouting questions, cameras flashing, the story already going viral before I'd left the podium. Agent Foster's arrest was national news within an hour. ICE agent who threatened to deport Admiral was himself undocumented, screamed the headlines. The video from the North Park witnesses showing him grabbing me, threatening me, demanding my papers, played on every network. The backlash was immediate and brutal. ICE tried to distance themselves, calling Foster a rogue agent. Immigration advocates called him a traitor to his community. Conservative outlets struggled to defend undocumented immigrants working in immigration enforcement. Liberal outlets used him as proof of systemic problems. Everyone agreed on one thing. The irony was spectacular. Foster's citizenship review took 6 months. During that time, the full scope of his fraud emerged. His father had been deported 3 times. Foster had lied on his naturalization application about his father's status, about his own knowledge of that status, about family connections to deportation proceedings. The fraud was extensive and intentional. His citizenship was revoked. He lost his final appeal. And on a cold morning in December, Derek Foster, the man who'd threatened to deport me for buying groceries, was deported to Mexico, a country he barely remembered and hadn't visited since childhood. I didn't attend his deportation, didn't need to. The poetic justice was complete without my presence. But I did frame the photo that ran in the San Diego Union Tribune. Foster being escorted to the deportation flight, handcuffed, his face showing the same fear and desperation he'd inflicted on countless others. The headline read, "Former ICE agent deported after threatening to deport Naval Admiral." I hung it in my office, not as a trophy, but as a reminder that bullies eventually meet someone they can't intimidate. That fraud catches up with you. That the power you abuse has a way of turning against you. Foster tried to fight the deportation from Mexico, filed appeals, hired lawyers, claimed his deportation was retaliation for his law enforcement work. Every appeal was denied. Every claim was rejected. The fraud was undeniable. Last I heard, he was living in Tijuana, unable to return to the country he'd spent his career protecting from people just like him. Meanwhile, the woman he'd threatened, the one he'd grabbed, the one he'd told was lucky not to be detained, received a 3rd star. Vice Admiral now, still serving, still fighting, still here. My name is Vice Admiral Carolina Vasquez. I'm in the United States Navy with 31 years of service. And I learned that the people most threatened by your success are often the ones most terrified you'll discover their secrets. Derek Foster threatened to deport me because he saw his own precarious status reflected in my face. He enforced laws he'd broken to obtain the authority to enforce them. He terrorized people while living the same fear he inflicted. And when he grabbed the wrong person on the wrong street corner, his house of cards collapsed in hours. I didn't deport him. His own fraud did. His own lies, his own decisions. I just identified myself and let the system he'd weaponized turn its full weight on him. They say karma takes time, but sometimes it just takes a rear admiral in a Padres t-shirt who refuses to be intimidated, who makes 3 phone calls, and who shows up 2 hours later in dress whites, ready to dismantle everything you built on lies. Foster learned that in the time it took me to drive home and put on my uniform, from Saturday morning harassment to Monday morning headlines, to 6 months later, watching him board a deportation flight. The agent who threatened to deport me got deported himself. And I didn't have to lift a finger beyond identifying myself and letting the truth do what truth does when it finally comes to light. Poetic. Justice. Served.